see about unplugging that and plugging it back in. Okay, hopefully that works. Yes, there we go. Now let's just get this thing lined back up properly again. Alright, we are all set up and ready to go. So, hello everyone, and welcome back to Satisfactory. So, last time we were here, we made a Fixite Trigons factory, which seems to be working quite well. It's mostly all filled up, which is pretty neat. And if we head over here, I see a whole lot of green. Do I see yellow over there? It's hard to tell from this extreme distance whether it's all green or all yellow. Two colors are kind of similar. Alright, it looks correct to me. Yeah, that actually looks suspiciously marginally more than it should be. So I wonder what's up with that. Could just be that we had a backlog to begin with or something. Who knows? It's probably fine though. Should be enough. So, we have our Fixite Trigons. We have our aluminum. And what else was there? So we're working on making neuroquantum processors. Time crystals, we've done. Fixite Trigons, we've done. Excited photonic matter is free. So basically, we just need to make a supercomputer factory. And we need 40 of these per minute total for the future, which means we need 40 supercomputers per minute, which I imagine is way more supercomputers than we currently have. So our existing factory would be like 18.75, but then some of those are going to be used in the assembly director system anyways. So yeah, we're just gonna work back up from scratch to make a new supercomputer factory for our neuroquantum processors. So, let's just find some empty available space. Gosh, it's kind of incredible how much of the map I've really filled up at this point. Like, just finding empty space to put a factory is not trivial. You have to go pretty far out of the way for it, which honestly is pretty cool. So let's head over here to this sort of east wall, like southeast area. That should be nice and distant. We also have the time crystals are right here, I guess. And how do we even get the time crystals out? Did I ever figure out how to do that? Oh, via drone? Yikes, okay. That's fine. We only need 200 time crystals for this factory, which is, I think, pretty well within the range of what a single drone port can handle. We might have to add more in the future as we expand this out, but it should be fine for now. So let's say this area is a good spot for it. So let's get in our intersection here. So do something like that. And then we get a rail blueprint in. And now we just have to connect this up to make the T-junction. Which goes like that, and like that, and then across the other directions. Like that. Alright, cool. Now we get a path signal facing in. And then those get upgraded to path signals. And we get a block signal facing out. Alright. So, what are the imports here? We need quartz, oil, deuterium, copper, iron, and nitrogen. Yeah, this is going to be a whole giant process, I think. Oh, and also aluminum. Yikes. Alright, well, that's going to be fun. So we don't need these notes. Those were from last factory. Let's just clear those out and start getting this all set up. So we're going to need a whole bunch of space. And this is going to be quite big. Although maybe we can get some of them locally, actually. What's directly beneath us? We have copper. Oh wait, I hit the wrong button there. So we've got copper, we've got iron there. We've got limestone. And that's about it. So we can get the copper and the iron locally, which will be quite handy. We don't actually need limestone for this. So we're going to have to import quartz, crude oil, deuterium, and aluminum, and nitrogen. Alright. So that is, I mean, it's slightly better. It's still a lot of imports. So we need to get this railway in first. We do something like that, and then expand down this way. And now we start putting our train stations in. We're going to need so many of these. Alright, so train station 1 is just going to go like there. And it will connect in somehow. Like that, I guess. And you are going to be quartz input. So you are NQP quartz. So then we get another one. And we push you out to there. And you are going to be NQP crude oil. NQP crude oil. And then we're going to need to expand this area out by a huge amount. Okay, I don't know why power is so bad over there. It should be fine, right? Because we've got this rail directly beneath us. That should be providing power. Who knows? Alright, so we get this in. Push it over to the side a little bit to give some room. And you get to be NQP deuterium. Unless, yeah, I think we're using that whole node for just as a raw resource input. So we have a lot of water that we're going to need. Obviously, we're just going to get that from on site. We have copper, which that's plenty. Iron is a little bit further, but those 4 impure nodes will certainly be enough. And then we need nitrogen and trigons, and then the time crystals come in via drone. Okay, so that should be fine. So you go in and you are NQP nitrogen. That's not how you spell nitrogen. Alright, now we have to get these connected up properly. Which can be somewhat finicky. Okay, that does not want to line up at all. We need you to be like a little bit closer, maybe. I don't know. I think we just need to dismantle all of this so that this just doesn't have a junction in that exact area where we need this to be. There. Now that's easy. And that can go in. Meanwhile, the rest of this just continues forwards. Alright, so then we get even more space in. Stop using the wrong blueprint. And this just expands out a little bit more. So we have the nitrogen, and I think the last thing left is the trigons. So those can go in, give them enough space, and then we can connect you up. Alright, so then you are NQP trigons, and then the time crystals, we only need 200 of those. They're going to get droned in. Okay. Did I do aluminum? No, I didn't do aluminum. So we need to get that in as well. And actually, that's a concerningly huge number. Like 3,000 some aluminum. I don't know that we have enough aluminum to do that. So I guess we might... Yeah, I should have looked at that number beforehand. I just sort of assumed it would be fine, but 3,200 aluminum per minute is a lot of aluminum per minute. I don't know if we're going to have enough for that. We might have to go and expand the stupid aluminum factory again. Alright, so these are all in. And that's everything, right? So it looks like 2,400 of the aluminum is going to aluminum casings for the radio control systems for the OC supercomputers. Not really much we can do that aside from, like, I guess use an entirely different recipe, but I don't know. It'll probably be fine, right? It'll probably be fine. I don't know. Actually, can I just, like... What happens to the other resource demands if I just ban the aluminum? So we go to the calculator, we disable OC supercomputer. What happens now? So we get a lot more iron, crude oil. We have to add sulfur in now for some reason to make batteries. Okay, but we still end up using the 700 aluminum this way to make batteries for superstate computers, which I don't even think I have that recipe. Is that one that I haven't selected? Yes, so that's this one. So let's just select that and put in another hard drive scan. We are starting to use them. So this would actually also use classic battery, so I guess we'll select that. And yeah, so we have another hard drive scanning, so that's all good. But this recipe is also kind of gross. I mean, I don't like the 600 sulfur. And we still use 700 aluminum. Okay, yeah, no, let's let us do the OC supercomputer thing. And we'll just deal with the aluminum demands when we get to it. We might, like, go, I don't know, summer sloop hunting or something. Because if these are going in constructors, it's relatively efficient to double them. So that might be our play. Just use a couple of summer sloops for that. Alright. Anyways. The next thing we need to do is going to take a lot of wires, actually. So we need to place in all of the freight platforms for all of this, which is going to be a whole process. So yeah, I think for now we're just going to kind of sort of assume that the aluminum supply works itself out. We can figure out how to manage it later. Okay, don't place it there. That's not where I want that to be. Alright, now we need more concrete. So while we wait for the concrete to regenerate, let's start putting freight platforms in. So we get quartz, 4, and 5. And yeah, so this last one was needed, but we don't need more than that, fortunately. 3, 4, and 5. So that's the fluid freight platforms done. Next we go back to Caterium. 2, 3, 4. And these apparently also take concrete. So that is a bit of a problem. We need to finish off this corner, which is going to take a whole bunch of concrete. So let's place that in. And what buttons have I pressed? I don't know. Okay. Then we get that one, and there's just one more, and then this corner will be all good. Alright, so that is all the concrete for the foundations. Now we just need all the fluid freight platforms, which also require concrete. Fortunately, our concrete dimensional depot is insanely good, so it should just require very minimal slowdown. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Alright, so now we just have the aluminum left, which we can just put in. Okay, now we are limited on wire, which I grabbed in advance, but there's only so much that you can do on that front. And the wire is both a lot slower than the concrete and also requires twice as much, so that is going to take a bit. In the meantime then, while that cooks, let's get our railway across. So this goes back to here and all the way across that way. So by the time this is done, we should have enough wire to finish off the last freight platforms. Alright, so then this just loops back this way and connects in to that, which should be all set. Now we just put a block signal there. So now we have this all set up. So we just need you to connect back to there. And we just need to get all of these guys connected up properly. Like that. And then we're going to need some signals. We're also going to need to get the last one finished up. What is this one's problem? There we go. Took a couple tries to get the alignment perfectly correct. There we go. Now we just finish you off. Like that. And connected. Alright. Now it's for the block signals. So all of these guys get their own little block signals along this way, which are going to be dividing segments until we get all of them in. So one more. There we go. Now we get block signals on this side, which will let us do all of this stuff. So there we go. And just a couple more. And actually, here's a question. Do I want to go all the way down to the surface to get the iron and copper, or do I just import that? Let's just import it. It'll be fine. We have... our wire supply is improving. So yeah, let's just fill out a little bit of extra space with the concrete and just import the iron and copper. This way, the only thing we need to go down to the surface for... Don't do that. The only thing we're going to need to go down to the surface for is the water, which will make things a lot simpler. Alright, so that is all out. Although the copper... I guess the copper and iron, they're literally right here. Like, I guess... Yeah, we might as well. We're going to be going down there anyways. Doesn't really hurt anything. Alright, so never mind. That extra space, we just don't need that. So this is all set up and ready to go. So now we just drop down to the surface level and get stuff from there. And we have power in this general area, it looks like. I mean, at least over there. Alright, yeah, so let's see here. We are going to need a wall of some sort going all the way down from here to the surface level. So let's get that in, and we might as well put it over here. Alright, so that goes there. And this top one we don't need. So now we have these. And that is taking... How many pipes of water is that? That's 3 pipes of water. But we need a lot of water for this, apparently. We need 3326 divided by 600. We need 6 pipes of water. So, I guess we're just going to be having 2 of these going down. And we have power on these as well, right? So this... We can connect you up to here, and then snap that into the power grid. So now we should be able to just bring these blueprints down. And then that should carry power down so that we can keep doing this. And we have to climb back up and connect everything in. Wait, actually, we should be able to do blueprint auto-connect mode, I think. We should be able to do that. So let's start by getting these ones that we have here connected. Okay, our MAM scan has finished. That's good, obviously. Okay, so I think for this water, we are going to try to do the whole water tower thing, because it's so many pipes. Like with 6 pipes, it would be really annoying to not do that. So we're going to do our best. The downside is that it's going to get weird. Because the system for the water tower is kind of weird and inconsistent sometimes. But we'll do what we can. Alright, so this just keeps going down. And we just keep on placing you. Alright, now let's bring power down with us so that we don't fall out of the sky while building this. Alright, then we get you still headed downwards. And we're making good progress. So this one is currently powered, so we can grab from it and bring power all the way down this way. And we just keep on going. So this is almost at ground level / water level / whatever. Alright, so that then comes down to here. And alright, at this point we are all set and ready to go, basically. This is basically high up enough, although it looks like the auto-connect has been somewhat inconsistent. So we're going to have to deal with that on our way back up. For now, though, let's just get the water extractors in. And these are going to be max overclocked. So that's a full pipe. That's another 600. Oh, right. We need to actually bring the power over to here. So let's get you down. Actually, let's just get like a power tower in, just so that it can be nice and large and accessible from the general area. Okay, then that all connects up like that. Alright, now we just get power poles apparently deep underneath the ocean. Alright, I'm so glad that that's where the power pole is. Such a normal place for a power pole. Maybe if we max upgrade it, it'll almost be able to reach the surface. Alright, so this is 2 full pipes worth. Then we're going to add even more. So this is a 3rd pipe. This is a 4th. And a 5th. And a 6th. Alright, so we've got all of these guys in. Then we need to get them all powered on. Gosh, these cursed underwater power poles are absolutely awful. But it is what it is. So we just get the rest of the connections in. And apparently we get another one over to there. Alright, so now we just get these guys all connected across. We sort of made them in these rows. And then we need to paste the power shards across all of them. So you get your power shards and set. Now we can run across and get all of these guys going super fast. And they're probably about to run out of space to be outputting into, but that's fine. Alright, so we have all these guys. They are doing their thing. Why is that one slightly underwater? You know what? I'm just not going to worry about it. Okay, that one is even further underwater. Who knows? Who can say what exactly is going on there? Alright, so yeah, now pretty much simultaneously they are all stuck. So now what we need is we need a single pipe that all of these guys connect into. And that pipe needs to be approximately at sea level. So let's bring that wall a little bit further down, and then we can put this foundation in, which if we known we were doing this, we wouldn't have had to do the whole cursed underwater power pole thing, but it's fine. Alright, so we need all of these to get connected up to this pipe. Actually, I wonder... No, okay, yeah, so that one works. So, this pipe is going to be coming down from above and running across this way. And then it has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 pipeline junctions in it. And then we just need the other side of all of these to wrap around awkwardly into there. And then you need to come up this way. And actually, no, that's not right. You need to go further down than the first one in order to get around it. So you come around this way and a little bit more around like that, and then up into there. And then this one goes around to here, and it has to go a little bit further forwards, and then up into there. Alright, now the remaining 3, they just need to go like this, directly across, and up, and in. Wait, this is also technically slightly wrong, but we can work with it. Alright, so if we need to take that one out because it's going to be easier to get them in from this side than the other side. So you need to connect in like that. Alright, so that is all in. Now we just get these each connected into one of those junctions, and then that will be that. So this one just goes directly across to there. You can go directly across to there. You can go up there and then into that one. And we're just going to sort of keep stacking on top of ourselves like this. There are stackable pipeline supports, by the way. Who needs those? Certainly not me. Alright, then this last one just goes all the way up here and into there. Alright, so these are all connected up, which means that all we now need to do is get... Well, we need to finish these pipes and then get all this water connected in. So step one is make sure that these pipes actually go all the way up. Actually, wait, is step one... How are empty canister supply? We've got a lot of them. Alright, let's... What about our packaged water? We have a small amount of packaged water. Alright, so what we're going to be doing here is kind of unhinged, but that's fine. We are going to be getting in a packager, and it's going to be taking water from there, and it's going to be dimensional depoting packaged water. So we get that, and now we need a storage container, which we need it to actually fit. So let's get an industrial storage container back here, throw our canisters in, and then just bring that across. And then you get powered up and told to package water. And do it as fast as you physically can, please. And apparently we do have empty canisters in the dimensional storage somewhere, so that's cool. So we're just going to get you nice and full. And then you can feed the dimensional storage. So this will be useful for our water tower a little bit later. So, in the meantime, we need this. So we need an additional pipe for the water to come down. So it's going to be like that. And then we're going to have a valve on it, which is set to 0. So that prevents this from actually doing anything, but should mean the head lift gets across properly. This curved belt is breaking my brain a little bit. That looks weird, but whatever. Alright, so we have this going up. Then we also need to get the copper and iron while we're here. So let's run over this way. The copper... Oh wait, no, the copper is right over here. Yeah, so here's the copper. Let's grab that. Come on, power line. Come on. How close do you have to get? Real close. Alright, so that is over here now. And this... Oh wait, there's iron here too? Oh, look at that. It's iron and copper. I thought this was just one. Alright, well, hopefully it's enough copper. We need... How much copper do we need? 550 some. Oh, okay, yeah, this is going to be enough. So this is 600 copper, which is pretty much just barely enough. And then this is also going to be... How much iron did we need? 700 iron, and this is going to be giving us 1200, so also plenty. Alright, so those two, then we just need to belt them over to our wall over here. Just straight through the forest. And across like this. Okay, now let's just get some foundation in. And bring this over to be in the same general vicinity. Alright, so you get on there, and here. Let's blow up that tree. And let's also blow up this tree, which we've managed to merge through. Alright, there we go. Now we have no clipping. Cool. So now we just bring these belts around and forwards. Alright, so these go forwards, that goes forwards. Alright. All we need now is to get these up into some lifts, which are going to be bringing them back up, and preferably without doing anything too weird. There we go. So that goes out to there. This is going to have to wrap around and then in. Alright. So now we bring all of this stuff back up while also simultaneously fixing these pipes. That's going to be a bit of a task. Alright, so that goes up. We can fix the pipes on the way back down, I think. That'll probably be easier. We're going to need to head back down at some point to fix this. Alright, so that keeps going up. Then we swap back to our water pipes. And up we go. There we go. And swap back to our conveyor lifts, which go back up. And just keep on alternating directions so they stay in approximately the same location, vertically speaking. Alright, now we just keep bringing the water pipe up. Let's give that a couple ticks up. And now go back to the conveyor lifts. So up we go. And we just keep on moving. Alright. We are making progress. Go back to the water pipe. So this goes all the way up to here. And back to the lifts. Almost there. Alright, so then these can go to like just beneath the foundation. And the water pipe can then just pop out to here. And onto the foundation. Alright, so now all we need is up here we need a packager, which is going to do that, and then put the packages into there, and receive packages from there. Alright, so this is set to unpackage water, and it's gonna get powered up. And actually, wait, we need a fluid buffer up here, I think. Alright, so industrial fluid buffer. Kind of built this a bit small, but it's fine. So that just wraps around like that. And now we just need to grab all the packaged water we can and start tossing it into here. And you can go super fast if you want to, although there's a limit to how fast we can actually get the packaged water in. based on the dimensional depot. But there we go. So now we have a whole bunch of water going up this way and dropping down to there. So now we need to make sure that these pipes are fully complete the whole way down, which it looks like some of them are not. So, with this all set up, hopefully we'll get our headlift magic going. And then hopefully it'll just work. We won't have a constant stream of bizarre problems. Alright, so this just keeps on going. And I think that's fully connected up now. Alright, so this needs more canisters. So let's feed you more empty canisters. Congratulations. And there we go. Now we just head all the way up to the top again. And alright, I am seeing water in these pipes. It's not all the way up yet, but if it's working, then it's working. And hopefully that is fresh water and not water from the unpackager, because that would be quite annoying if it were the case. Alright, so we can just fly on up here, and I assume this has run out of packaged water by now. I can feed it a bit more. There's another 400 of those, which should last it just over a minute. Alright. So we should eventually see water making its way up here. And that is doing its thing. Alright. You are making your way through. We'll keep you filled up until hopefully this happens. So how high up has the water gotten by this point? It is still nowhere to be seen. It's all the way down here. But it is looking good in terms of how fast it's going. Like, each of these individually is going about as fast as the entire thing should be, in theory, which means that it is probably actually fresh water production and not just stuff looping back from up there. Alright, so that is going. Alright, we're probably going to need more packaged water. Alright, it is still going, though it's almost done. So we can feed you even more to keep the water pumping. And eventually we should be up to here, and then it should be okay. And I think we're gonna build down from the train levels. So this is going to be the highest that it needs to be, so the headlift shouldn't be a problem on that front. Alright, and water is up in these segments. Very cool. Let's just get this last chunk through, just so that it can be doing its thing. How much did we end up using? decent amount, but nothing crazy, really. Alright, so now this is all capped out. And this is also all capped out, and we're just filling the fluid buffer at this point. Which shouldn't be draining a considerable amount anymore, because there's nowhere for it to drain to. Alright, so this should be all clear on the waterfront. So, I guess, okay, so now what we need to do, we need to get these trains to actually get set to unload, and then actually bring the resources in. So all of you get set to unload. We just have to do this for every train. And then we need to add the new trains in, and the aluminum is probably going to need multiple trains. I guess we'll see. Okay, wait, this is just the other side of that, right? So the aluminum is probably going to need multiple trains. The rest should all be fine with one train each. And I don't know, maybe the aluminum can keep up since it's not all that far from the source and there's not much traffic in between, theoretically. And we might also need to go back to expanding the train network to make that work better. Because we are very much like at and around the limit of what our train network can handle currently. But if we just push more things up onto the second floor and expand that out, it'll work a lot better. Like we can move bauxite up there as an example. And that would save a whole bunch of trains running around on floor 1. Alright, so these are all set up properly. Now we just get the trains in. So, locomotive 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 cars. And you are NQP quartz. And then we just search for quartz distributor, NQP quartz. Save, turn on, off you go. Have fun with that. Then we have crude oil. So we get train 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And so this is NQP oil. We type in oil, and you are going to oil distributor and NQP oil. Oh wait, we need to make sure that these settings are good. So we need to set you like that. And speaking of which, it actually looks like we have a train crisis. All right. I hid the trains on the map, which means I can't see easily. Unhide the trains on the map. And yeah, there's something going on up there. Let's get all of these trains set in. Sorry, and then we'll go over there and fix that. Might as well just not stop in the middle of something, right? 2, 3, 4, 5. NQP Caterium. NQP Caterium. And then we search Caterium. We add the distributor. We add this. You wait until fully loaded or unloaded, and off you go. And like half of these are just going to be jammed right into that traffic jam over there, which is fine, I guess. 2, 3, 4, 5. Now we have nitrogen, which we're going to have to figure out how that works. Nitrogen isn't one of the ones that just goes to a nice, neat distributor. So let's just have you take from nitrogen source. I'm sure that'll be fine. And you go until fully loaded. And there we go. Then we have trigons. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. So you are NQP trigons. Get this in. Yeah, okay. So you go to these two. Wait until it's fully loaded, and 0 seconds have passed. And off you go. Now we just need our aluminum. Just one more. And that is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of those. And you are NQP aluminum. And you get to go to aluminum output 2 and NQP aluminum. Stay here until you're fully unloaded. And off you go. Have fun with that. Now we respawn and we fix the traffic jam. Okay. We're back here. Actually, while I'm here, you need to do another hard drive scan probably. There we go, get that queued up. Alright. Now for the trains. What went wrong with the trains? This guy, you are just sitting in this intersection, which is like the main, most important intersection, and you're just sitting in it. Okay, so first of all, that is very bad. So all we need to do is chop out that block signal and have you wait until you can get all the way up to this block signal. That should be fine. And somehow that's convinced you that it's okay to move. So I don't know why. So now we just need to follow down this way to see what went wrong. So this train, are you trying to get into heavy modular frames? Yes, you're trying to get into heavy modular frames, but you can't. And the reason you can't is because this guy is in here. What are you doing? What are you? You are Supercomputer Caterium, and you're just here for fun, I guess? You just sort of felt like taking a detour? Okay, I guess this is going to be that way. So we just need you. What are you? Are you HMF Iron? Alright, let's have you turn off self-driving. And this is actually, I mean, we should be able to barely squeeze it in out here. If we just ignore the blocks, just sort of bring ourselves right up to there. Alright, that is not gonna fully work. But if this guy gets moving, then it will. So if this train is able to get through the intersection, all of this will move forwards and then we'll be clear. Alright, there you go. So that guy is through, which means this guy is going to follow, and now I can hop in this one and Scoot forwards out of the intersection. And now we are all in the clear. So now you can get set onto self-driving. And, alright, I think we're moving now, at least for the most part. And we still have a couple trains waiting here, but one of you guys should take the opportunity now. Yeah, there we go. That's all good. And then this random guy who needs to turn around should see the opportunity to get out in a minute. All of this stuff is going. Yeah, there you are. So you are no longer where you shouldn't be. You're just back onto the tracks and doing normal stuff. Alright. So that is this half. Looks like there was a potentially second traffic jam over to the east, although it might just be the lingering effects of this one. Yeah, one of the problems with the trains in this game is that if basically any traffic jam anywhere on the map very, very rapidly spreads to the entire thing. Like, there's no such thing as a localized incident. Everything breaks. Everything breaks simultaneously, if it breaks at all. Alright, it looks like this is moving through and we're going to be okay with that. And it's just taking a little bit. So yeah, getting more stuff up onto the second row would definitely help a lot. And let's see if we could just get that happening with the bauxite, maybe. I mean, if it's fine as it is, without that problem which we fixed, and without the supercomputer train just randomly turning around into the station it shouldn't be, it should all be okay, I think. Alright, so that train's moving. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe we do need to do something about this. It is pretty extreme at this point. Alright, yeah, let's bring bauxite up onto the second floor, although isn't like most of the bauxite all the way like in random places, like all the way over here? Yeah, that's the problem with the bauxite, is it's way too spread out. Okay, well, what else can I do then? I can move more things up onto the second row, I guess. Like, I think that HMF iron train was actually... We can move that up onto the second floor. Yeah, let's do that. I think there's still more iron that can get headed up onto the second floor. So this, we're just gonna expand along this way. And now we've got this whole system in here, which for now we're just going to treat as just doing something like that. Wait, is this the thing where it like all goes over slightly? No, surely not. Is there some weird... There is that tiny little misalignment on this side, which we're going to need to deal with. And basically the way we're going to deal with that is by just copying it up on this floor. So you need to be ticked over there by 1. And then we're just going to have to push you far enough forwards that it doesn't break anything else. Alright, so actually we just need you to be lined up with these guys. So you are out here, and is this completely correct alignment? I think it is, and the easy way to tell is if we just pop you centered there and then bring you up. Okay, you're slightly off. Okay, that's fine. So you get dismantled, and then we need to place you back in and shift you all the way over to here. Alright, so then you are like that, and 1 tick to the side like that. And then, is that correct, or have I just done the same thing again? It is entirely possible that I have just done the same thing again. Alright, whatever, it's close enough. So, really what we need is we need this side to be going out. So you are going to be aligned like that, I think. And then pushed over this way. Every time I get that MAM alert, I think that it's like a train collision, because that's what alerts like that normally mean. Alright, so that is now over to there. And let's just make this a nice solid 3-way junction for now. So you go to those 2 directions, and you go out to like that. So eventually we're going to need to put the 4th direction in, facing that way. But for now, this should be fine. So let's get the path signals in. So you get a path signal. You get a path signal, and you get a path signal, and then we get block signals going out there, there, and there. Alright, so that is that. Now, why does it look like these path signals aren't dividing the block properly? Who knows? Alright, so that goes out like this. That has an error because it's just going to a dead end, basically. All of these path signals should be fine. Okay, why does it say that the block ends back there, when there's definitely nothing that ends blocks in this particular area? Okay. That's mysterious. But we're just going to ignore it and just keep on running. And this was the HMF thing, right? Yes. So, we're almost there. And now the track is just passing over the top of that. So what we need to do is we need the iron ore input specifically to wind up on a different track which goes up to there. So So we need to get that set up. So I guess step one would be to get the junction in, because those are annoying to do otherwise. So this gets that in, plus a bit of additional space. Is that aligned right? There's a weird shadow on that. But it looks like it's aligned right, so I guess that's fine. Alright, then the junction goes in, and you go out to there, and we just get all of these guys connected up, like that. And now we get our signals in, so we get a pass signal coming from there, and coming from there, and block signals going out there, and out there. And this is going to be complaining because it loops into itself. So we are going to need these signals to be back this way, like that. And then we need to move these signals to be back out of the way, like there and there. And then this block signal needs to be back there. And now it all works, except obviously for the signals which are pointing into dead ends, which are never going to work. Alright, so then you just take that out and bring you up to here. Alright, that might be a bit weird with the other track. So can we just have you not go directly underneath all of that stuff? So if we just take that whole thing out and connect you in more directly like that, then we should still be fine. Alright, and then this track comes down to here and loops around like this. And okay, so then what we can do again is move this whole thing out a little bit further. So you can go out like that. And connect into there. Then this should be able to go just a little bit sharper and into there. Alright, so that is that. And now we just need a block signal on it. Alright, so that should be another iron train removed from the ground layer. And that iron train is probably going to be doing some weird stuff while it figures out how to get back here, but it should figure out eventually. And I don't know, hopefully that will fix things enough. Okay, now is there any guy complaining that I don't know how to get in? No. He seems to have figured out, because it is technically possible to cross between the two rows. So it should be able to just make its way up there and be fine. And then, okay, we need like basically just one more. Why did that go in the wrong way? We basically need just like one more block signal in this whole giant row. That should be plenty. Alright, so now that that is all in, let's go back to the neural quantum processor factory and see how things have gone over there. Where was that? Was that in the southeast, I think? Yeah, I want to say it was in the southeast corner. Could be wrong, but it was by the time crystals. That's what I remember for sure. Okay, no, it was southwest corner. Close enough. As long as you get one of the directions right, you can normally accommodate for the other direction. Okay, so here we are. We haven't gotten any quartz yet, although here is the quartz train now, and we need to fix you. So you're going to stay here until fully loaded. There we go. Hopefully we got those settings in before it docked, and it'll just work that way now. Okay, back to Hover Pack. So we've got most things, it seems like. The Caterium hasn't made it back. Nitrogen has. The Trigons are here. We've got a whole bucket load of them. And we've got a whole bucket load of aluminum. Okay. And we also have our water, which seems to be doing fine, probably. I don't like that this is still just sloshing around slightly. I would really rather it be perfectly stable. But I'm pretty sure it isn't doing anything of interest. Alright, so now that we have everything here, it's time to start working. So I guess step one will be all of the things that require water. So let's see here. The biggest single usage of water is diluted fuel. So I guess let's start with that. We have to take crude oil down to heavy oil residue. So we just go down a floor, and let's zoom in some walls. That ought to be enough, right? I don't know how tall refineries are, but I don't think they're that tall. I mean, they're pretty big, but... Alright, so then that gets lined up. And then we can use blueprint mode to just spam a couple of them down. And that will certainly be enough space, at least for a starter. I should get a refinery into check. Yep, refineries are pretty much perfect here. So, we need some refineries with heavy oil residue recipe. This actually just works perfectly. So we need you to not be in blueprint mode. We want you to snap in differently from that. Alright, so you can just go, I don't know, somewhere like this. Leave plenty of room around the edges in case we need it. We need 16, a little more than 16 effective refineries. So let's get more of these in. I think actually with max overclocking this should be enough. Right, 16 divided by 2.5 is 6.4, and this is 6. Alright, so we do need one more row. So we get another one of these guys in. Just pop it down like that. And now this main line here needs to be Mark II pipes. And it needs to connect all the way across. Oh wait, we haven't done the Yeah, no, okay. We need to actually take this all out, unfortunately. We haven't done the collection of the resources from the train. So we need to gather those up, have buffer chests for them and everything, and just have that all sorted out immediately. And we can't be taking space directly beneath for any other purpose. So yeah, this is instead we're going to be getting that stuff in. So the aluminum is by far the fastest throughput that we're going to be having here. So you get 2 floor holes each, because you're going to need like full speed ahead for this. So we get that in. Then we get a whole bunch of Mark 6 belts, which will then take the aluminum down to the next floor down. No, not like that. That would not work. It needs to be like that and that. Alright, so that is all in. And then we connect these belts across. Alright, there we go. And we're going to need to do this or something similar for all of these. So the trigons are next. Although, how many trigons do we need? We need 600 trigons per minute. So we can just merge them up first and deal with the outputs second. We are still going to want a buffer, but it can just be one single buffer for the whole thing. So there we go. All this gets built out, and then we expand that all the way along. And then you go down to the next floor. There we are. Alright, next up is the nitrogen. How much nitrogen? 960. So that's slightly more than a pipe. So what we're going to do is we're going to send all of these guys down just one floor hole each, and then merge them up into some fluid buffers, and then into two hole things of 2 pipes. So we just do like that for now. And then we go over here. This is the caterium, which we need. Where is the caterium? We need 257 caterium. At that rate, we might not even need a buffer, although might as well add one. Just doesn't hurt. But anyways, we're just going to be merging you all up into one. All right. Like that, and then all of this gets connected across. And there we go. And then down a floor. Next up, we have the crude oil, which we need less than a single pipe. So we should be able to handle this just with a buffer, with a single floor hole down from each of them. So this all goes in. And there we go. Now finally we have the quartz. which, again, we do not need much. So we can start with merging you up. And why are you so close? You need to be at the normal standardized spacing so that these all connect up evenly. Alright, and then we get our belts in. Alright, that is that. And in we go. Alright, so everything in the trains has now been sent down to the next floor down. So now we can drop down to here. And we need to get our foundation across to us. So we just do something like that. And a second row across here, I suppose. Alright, so something like that. Now we get all of these down to the level. So you come down to here. And you get to just go into an industrial storage box. I don't know why that isn't registering as lining up perfectly, but there we go. So that should fill this industrial storage crate with quartz, which it can certainly do. Next up, we have this whole giant thing of, I believe, crude oil. So we are going to be bringing all of these guys. Okay, let's set up a pipeline just here. Why are you like this? Stop doing weird things with angles and just get placed in normally. Thank you. So you do something like that. And then each of you just merge up into it. So we just need that, and that, and that's 3. Then we need this foundation to go out that way a bit further. And then we get... Didn't I place in a pipe here? I could have sworn I placed in a pipe here. Whatever. So then that goes into there. This goes up to there. And then we get a fluid buffer. And we get another fluid buffer. And then this will be our crude oil output. So we just get a pipe back here, which runs along this way. Apparently not evenly, but whatever. So then that, and that. Alright, so then this is all set. So now we have crude oil pipes. Next up, we go over to here, and this is, what, Caterium, I think? So you come down to there, we get our industrial storage container, and you just fill that up. And why is nothing showing up on this belt? Did I not get you connected properly? No, this one is just empty for some reason. Hey, where is this train then? Let's see here. If I search NQP Deuterium. Where are you? You are on your way. You are making your way back here. Did I, like, not set you to unload? No, I did set you to unload. Okay, well, it should make its way here and provide the Deuterium. Unless it's empty, I guess. I guess we might have a Deuterium crisis, and there's just isn't any to be had. Alright, so it should be there. Am I crazy, or where is it? It should be that one, which, yeah, there's definitely some sort of weird Deuterium shortage going on, which we're going to have to investigate. Well, let's get the rest of this stuff done first before figuring out what's happening with our Deuterium supply. So next up is nitrogen, which we just do the same thing that we did with the crude oil. No, we don't emote. That's definitely not what we want to be doing here. Alright, so step one, we just sort of run this pipe along a little bit. Step two, we start getting the junctions in. And this just connects up. And we need a little bit more space back this way. So we get a junction there. And one more. Alright, so we have all those. Then we get our industrial fluid buffers in, which can go like there and there. They connect into the nitrogen in those two spots, and then they connect themselves across like this. And here we have... Why are you like this? How about you snap into the thing? There we go. So now we have effectively 2 pipes of nitrogen, like so. And we should have... Okay, we did wind up getting some Deuterium. Actually, quite a lot. That's way more Deuterium than I would have expected from a train which was almost entirely empty when it arrived. I mean, it's not a huge amount, but it's like enough to be unusual. Alright, so nitrogen is set up. Next up are the trigons, which also just need a very simple setup. So this comes down here, and then we just get a storage buffer, and then that gets attached across. And wait, no, we don't actually know what it's doing next. So the storage buffer then takes the trigons, and that is that. And then we have just the aluminum. So the aluminum is going to be a whole other story. So we're going to need enough space for this. Okay, so each of these needs to come down to a industrial storage buffer, which needs to go somewhere like that. Does that connect up properly? No, but if we delete you and put you back in... Yeah, oh wait, no, but you need to be further forwards in order for both to connect in properly. So actually we need to be comparing you to the near one. So your conveyor lift is going to go down to there-ish. The industrial storage buffer is going to go in like right on top of it. So like there, and then on top of it like that. So then we take that out and put it back in like that. Alright, so that is the spacing that we need. And then the back one is just going to have a bit of a belt to take it the rest of the way in. So now we just need to get all the rest of these set up properly, which should be as simple as just making sure they're all lined up still. No, apparently not. Are you... You are all lined up identically. So how did you... Oh wait, do I have to like drag it down from the top in order for it to fit? Yes, alright, so that's the trick. Because the spacing is a bit different if you don't do that. Alright, so that is that one. And then you get aligned up that way and sent out to here. There we go. And then we get these guys brought down. Right. What, 2 more of these? And if I'm right, it should be lined up like that. No, it's just like that. Just barely in the right spot. And then it gets connected up. And then this gets brought down as well. Alright, one more storage crate to go. So you are like this. And then the belts go in. Like that. And like that. Alright, so that is all set up. Now we just need to deal with the output. So we need, how much? 3,200 aluminum ingots, and 3,295 technically. So we need 2,400 a minute for one thing, and then another 800 some for the rest. So 3,295 divided by 1,200 is like 2.7. So ideally we would merge these 5 belts down to 3. And then that would be fine. But we had to do a whole gigantic complicated system to get that working over at the other side, and I kind of don't want to deal with that. So instead, let's just merge them in a way that forces the 2 belts of 1,200. Actually, does that make sense? No, it should honestly be fine. Did I ever blueprint the 5-to-4 merger? Is this an actual thing? Is this what I wanted? No, this is something weird. Okay. I could have sworn I had, but maybe not. It's fine. Alright, so since we don't have that blueprinted from the previous place we did it, Instead, we are simply going to just merge them all up, quote-unquote, naturally. So, if we just get you a splitter, you get a merger, you get a splitter, you get a merger, you get a splitter. So, let's see, we connect all this stuff up, and then we get this one connected up as well. Right, not like that. Like the normal way of doing things, please. There we go. So now we have 2 belts, which are like kind of guaranteed to be full, and then a couple other belts which are not, which we can just use for other purposes. So I don't know, this should be good enough in all likelihood. And then the water, iron, and copper we don't need to do anything with, because that just is doing normal stuff. Alright, it's quite possible that I'll come back to make this better later, but for now I think I'm fine with just leaving you like that and moving on to actual factory production. So let's get basic wall, slap you down 10, and now let's start working on our oil to fuel to probably plastic or something. Oh wait, actually, can we just import plastic? We do have a whole plastic factory. So we're using both rubber and plastic. Alright, yeah, so this is what we're going to do. We have factories specifically dedicated to those. So I'm not just going to use ordinary old crude oil on this. Just every little bit that can be simplified. So this whole thing is going to need to get reworked, basically. So, step 1, this train needs to go. Not disable docking vehicle, alright. Turn off self-driving, cancel docking. Alright, so this train gets removed, because we're not bringing in oil. Wait, actually, we might bring in oil for something else, actually. No, the only thing the oil goes to is directly into rubber or plastic. Okay, yeah, so that's fine. So this all goes out. This is going to be set to instead be NQP rubber, and we're gonna dismantle all of those fluid docking ports and instead give you freight platforms. 2, 3, 4. Why does it feel like there's only 4 of these? Alright. There is apparently space in there for that. And apparently it automatically snaps in with the existing track that's right there, so that's cool. Right, so now these need to not exist. So all of these, we just take them out. And then we're going to have to redo this. So if we just go into this and add as an input rubber, like a bunch of that, and plastic, just adding this to the calculator. Alright, so now we just have rubber and plastic. we apparently are doing a lot of that. So let's set those to be just as much rubber and plastic as we could possibly need. Okay, what is going on? Why is it saying a completely different recipe now? Alright, so I've just made that one tiny change, and it seems to just be all completely bugged now. So it's saying we need to use 0 steel pipes a minute to make stators, which is certainly not correct. Alright. Let's fiddle with that again and see if it fixes something. Alright, so we're back to using the OC supercomputer recipe, which is good. But now some of the other numbers are different, like we're using less deuterium now. Yes, that's weird, man. I don't know how this calculator decides what to do. I figured if plastic was the best option, it would just craft the plastic, but apparently not. Alright, anyways, by making those changes, we have successfully removed oil from the list of things that we need, and decreased the amount of water significantly, which is something, I guess. But it's weird that we're using exactly 1,000 of each when that's the amount I said to input. Like, that's real weird. What if I set this to, like, 1,500? Is it gonna, like, come up with a new recipe which uses exactly 1,500 of each? Somehow, yes. Now it's calling for 1,500 plastic and 1,300 some rubber. Okay, this is somewhat mysterious, and I'm gonna have to think about that for a while. So, back when we had this with no rubber or plastic inputs, it was using like 700-ish. No, it was using 93 plastic and a couple, like 800 to 900 in that ballpark rubber. Oh wait, no, I just saw another plastic. So it's using like 400 plastic and like 800 to 900 rubber. And the big thing that we care about really is the aluminum. So this was using 3,295.6 aluminum. Then if I add in like 1,000 plastic and like 1,000 rubber, does that somehow magically decrease the amount of aluminum that we use? No, it doesn't. But instead we're just doing some weird alternates with other things. Okay, let's just have it do the version without any of that. But now I'm wondering whether we can use less aluminum. No, I need to not spend that much time just staring at a screen that you guys can't see. We're just gonna use rubber and plastic, and then otherwise just do it this way. That's a tractor, not a train. Alright, so you get a train, and we get 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 freight cars, and you get to be NQP rubber, and it looks like things have gotten stuck again. So that's unfortunate. Alright, so let's get you set up. and move forwards. We need to get these set to unload. Otherwise, that won't work. And then we need to get the plastic platform in. And then we need to figure out what is going wrong with the trains again. Alright, so we just hop over this way. And okay, this system, we should be able to move most of this. We can't easily move the fluid buffer because that's like the important thing, but we should be able to move all the rest of this stuff and have it still be fine, and that should leave us enough space just to get you in and then connect you across. I guess you're gonna have to like go around like that, which is fine. So you are gonna be NQP plastic, and you get a whole bunch of freight platforms. 3, 4, and 5. And then you get connected into that. And we get some signals on. There and there. Now we set you to unload. And then we're just going to get the train in. And then we can head off to stare at the train network and see what's gone wrong. Alright, so train, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 cars. Why are you facing the other way? It's fine, we can fix that once this train is moving. So this is NQP plastic, and you are going plastic output to NQP plastic, and get all those settings in, save changes, turn on self-driving. Alright, so now you are off and running. So now we need this freight platform to just point the correct way and be set to unload. And apparently it might have been this one that was the problem. But whatever, that is in now, and we're all set. Alright, so now we respawn and figure out what's gone wrong with our train network. Alright, so where is the problem this time? There's nothing on this row, so that's good. That train is successfully doing its thing. So everything here, so far, so good. And we just run along this way. And so this jam shouldn't be propagating backwards like that. So that shouldn't be the issue unless it's like a massive loop. No, it isn't a massive loop. So it is just this little local thing in here. So all of these trains are backed up, trying to go this way. And what has caused them to get stuck? This train. Where are you? What have I done? Oh, okay. No, we're fine. You are trying to get into Caterium Hub, which I assume means going into here. But you can't go into here because of this guy. And this is stuck because this guy in front of it is stuck. And you can't go forwards. Why can't you go forwards? Are you trying to turn left here? you are trying to go to the quartz hub, which is this one. Oh, and you probably can't because this guy is sticking through. Ugh, this is just such a giant mess all the time. I really, really am not a fan of this entire setup. Like, this is all just kind of awful. Okay, is there any good way of fixing this? So I guess one thing we could do is we could, like, have this go down and just connect up over to that side. That might help a little bit. I don't know. This whole system is kind of atrocious in this area. All right. Is there, like, can I, like, maybe, if I, like, remove that and that, maybe? I don't know. Alright, so in the short term, we can fix this just by, like, moving any of these trains along. In the long term, we can't have this section being this short. So I guess what we can do is, like, just make it artificially longer. Which, I don't know how well we'll even be able to do that, but if we have this, and we just take it from there, bring it out to here, and actually we might need it to be even longer than that. So, like, if we just bring this whole segment back as far as it'll go, just to physically buy some space, then you go out to there, and you loop around to there, and then this loops in like that, which means this whole thing can't go out that steep. It needs to come back like this. And I don't know, we're so close. We're so close to having this. So we just need everything to be just a little bit sharper in order for it to physically get connected across. Although I wonder if we just pick you up and move you forwards to there. That doesn't cause any errors, right? So that gives us like an extra millimeter to play with, which honestly might be huge. So then this loops back around and in like that, but it needs to be even better. Alright, how do you can come out like that, and then go forwards and out a little bit, and then you go like that a little bit. I don't know, getting this to work is absolutely not trivial, but it looks like making that just tiny push forwards did help a little bit, at least. So This has gotta... It has to work somehow. There has to be some way of making this fit in. Oh, and now this is all... This is all loops into itself, I'm assuming? Yep, of course it is. How is this one looping into itself now? Is it because this whole thing isn't technically good? Alright, what if I... How does this loop into itself? I really dislike that, because it thinks that it's connected more than it is. Okay, what if we get you, like, back there? So that is basically just where it was previously, which is obviously not exactly helpful. But it does get the trains going through, at least. Okay, so this... I really... Wait. Okay, that works, actually. You can do that. And then... Obviously, this whole thing needs to be built more correctly. Hopefully if we just move the rest of these out like that, then it'll work. Alright, so if we then disconnect those so that this weird loop is the only way, and we disconnect that. Okay, how is this failing? I still don't get it. So the problem is that, like, this is merging up, like, technically past the intersection. Wait, no, even if we take that out, it's still... Even if we take that out, it's still not happy. Why? So it has to think somehow that some weird thing is going on. And, like, the solution to this is, of course, like, you can just push things back further from the intersections and it works. Like, why? Why does that make a difference? That should not make any difference at all. Okay, now those trains have just decided to collide, which is fine. Alright, you get going again. Then we're going to re-rack you. And go. And then if we connect you back up, it works now. Why does it work now? Does anyone understand? Because I certainly don't. I feel like I just dismantled and rebuilt a whole lot of things in the same spot that they were in. And it just works now for some unknowable reason. Alright, but now let's see the spacing. Yes, so now this track is longer. This block can fit a full train in it. With some room to spare, honestly, so that's cool. So that's progress. And what, do we just have to do the same thing back here as well? So you aren't locking this guy out unless he's trying to go this way? Alright, so let's do that. At very least, it should help somewhat. Like, it might not be solving the exact problems we're facing now, but it'll be solving some problems, right? So that needs to be a path signal. And then that goes out. So you can push just a little bit further forwards up to that intersection. And then if we put our block signal there, then does a train fit entirely within this region? No, it's not even all that close. Okay, so we do need you to eventually move forwards. So we need you to eventually move forward so that we can expand this out. Yeah, so we can't dismantle that because it's got a train on it. And we can't move the train because it's currently stuck, although it should be getting out of here eventually. Alright. No, all the other trains apparently have priority. So that's not happening anytime soon. And at least we've managed to get that little bit fixed. Like, that's a big improvement. This one seems to have enough space. This one doesn't, for some reason. We just need this freaking train to get out of the way so we can build something in here. And the moment it does, this train is going to go in and fill that space. Alright, so that track, we get rid of it. You can connect all the way back there. That's much sharper. Hopefully, no. Wait, actually, yes? If we just put you in there, then this segment holds a train. Very, very nice. Alright, so that is another improvement. And it does not look nearly as ugly as this whole thing, which we might just be able to do a similar thing where we just squeeze this a little bit further back. But this loop works too for the purpose. And so this train is waiting here, and that seems to fit. Alright, so I think that is significant improvements made there. So that's cool. So we've fixed all that. Now what? Now there just sort of isn't that much traffic in here at this exact moment. Possibly because there's other problems elsewhere. Although it might just be mostly resolved at this point. Okay. So all of this is going. I think at some point we just need to spend like an entire stream just doing nothing but expanding the top row, putting more trains onto it until eventually that's all better. So here's another one where the point at which it stops isn't far enough back to fit. Now if we pick up that path signal and move you up to there, and then you're gonna complain about looping in, but if we just rebuild that, and if we just delete all of that, put the path signal back, and then rebuild. Okay. So I guess that is a trick that you can do if you just have the path signal on a static line and then delete and rebuild, then that works. Okay. So with that in mind, we should also be able to squeeze these ones a little bit further forwards. might actually not even need to do any fancy stuff. If we just push you up to there, then you should be all cleared. Alright. A whole lot of the jankiness in here has been fixed at this point. It's still kind of janky, but at least the blocks are big enough to fit the trains in them, which is huge. I actually don't know if this block is. And I also simultaneously don't know what we can do about that, really. I guess, let's see, if you, and you all get chopped out, then you go out to there. Wait, no, that's just the same thing. I just redesigned the same thing, changing literally nothing. Alright, so we need you to go a little bit further forwards. And then up here, we can connect up to that and out to that. No, that's the same thing again. How do I keep doing this? I just keep redesigning literally the exact same thing. Let's have it go all the way up to there so that it doesn't snap in. Alright, this is surely much closer. Yes, so then we get a block signal there. And we can chop out that little bit in the middle. And that is all set up. And now this block should also be large enough to store a full train. So that is a whole bunch of improvements. And that train was able to get through to its destination. And things are still looking kind of slow on the main line. So this train here is trying to get to somewhere. It should get its chance now. But it isn't doing anything. Okay, no, it just took it a little bit. So it can go straight forwards. And that's all good. Okay, then this train can also go through and get stuck at this intersection because there's more delays further forwards. Yeah, we really do just at some point need to move a whole bunch of stuff up to the second row. I don't know. I don't know if I'm going to do that today, though. I'm sort of running out of steam, unfortunately. Let's just get rid of those random signals which aren't attached to anything. We definitely don't need those to continue existing. Alright. So, yeah, I think we might wrap up weirdly early today. I don't know, I'm just kind of exhausted and not able to really think straight to do stuff. So, I think, let's see, are these trains gonna break again instantly, is the question. It doesn't look terrible. I mean, this region in here looks way better than it has in ages, which should theoretically mean the whole thing works better as well. But yeah, I think we're gonna wrap up here. Thanks everyone for hanging out. Sorry it's a bit of a shorter one. But we'll be back in Factorio tomorrow. And then on Thursday we will probably just buckle down and deal with this train nonsense. Just get a whole bunch of things attached up to the second floor. Get that going nice and strong. And then that should be that. And then hopefully we'll have time left over after that to work on the neural quantum processors, which I need to spend some time staring at the recipes to figure out what exactly we're doing. But that should be it. So, thanks everyone for hanging out. I will be streaming again tomorrow. I stream every weekday from 2 to 5 Eastern Time, except for I end a little bit early. So make sure to follow if you haven't already so that you know when I'm live. And that'll be that. I'll be doing Factorio tomorrow, Satisfactory on Thursday. And thanks everyone for hanging out. So I will see you guys next time.